Okay.
All
Wyatt,
right.
we're recording. I think you have to consent.
I don't consent to this. I've never seen this man in my life. This is horrible. Uh,
I
all
believe
right.
that it's horrible, but I don't believe you've never seen me before.
Okay. Is it being recorded now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Uh, Starting number one. Remember, there are no wrong answers, but if you answer incorrectly, you will die. What are your biggest interests and hobbies?
Um, as an adult, I love live professional sports, but not all. My preference is NBA basketball. But when I can't have NBA basketball, I'll watch baseball and then maybe football. And but I would prefer not to have to watch any sports. I think I would rather be outside. I'm just not always in a place where I can be outside comfortably. Like I'd prefer to just be near the ocean or in the woods or something like that. But and I do spend a tremendous amount of time outside as well. So like I leave the house a lot every day. I have a dog and I walk the hell out of that dog, and I definitely spend several hours a day outside my house. Did that answer the question?
That was incorrect. Next question. Remember the test. Do you see yourself as an assertive person? Why or why not?
I do see myself as assertive. Um, it probably stems from nervousness. Like I'm the kind of person when unresolved tension exists, it's in my stomach, and I have a stomach ache, and I hate having stomach aches. So I'd rather push through the discomfort and resolve the issue. Um, I also learned recently in kind of an embarrassing way that I mean, I already knew that I was a controlling person, but I learned that's just who I am in my deepest, darkest wiring. I just love to have control of my life and of a situation. And so if I am in any way uncomfortable, unsure, unclear, if I feel like something's been unfair, I assert myself. And it's just because I think I have a selfish motive, which is that I think it ultimately helps me be more at peace.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Uh, what is your best and worst quality? Doesn't have to be the same quality. It probably won't be.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it is. I think I have a low threshold for uh, hurt and frustration, like emotional hurt and frustration. And um, and I think the other negative quality was my lack of self-control. I think that in my younger days, I was very quick to anger, and now I'm not quick to anger, but I am. Um, but I when I'm not being when I'm unconscious, I'm reactive. I'm much less reactive with now that I'm old, but I lived my life as a fairly reactive person. Now I'm much more. I hope it improves over time, but I'm much more of a responsive person. My better quality is that I tend to be able to relate to people very, very well, trained to their frequency. Um, I ask questions about them. I want to know them. But I think I also intuit a tremendous amount about people, and I tend to meet them where they are intuitively. Um, and I like to deal with people with humor, um, because I feel like that connotes a couple of things at one time. It's a great concoction of intelligence, sensitivity, emotion, um, like emotional intelligence, social intelligence, and intelligence. And funny people are my favorite people. And in fact, even when somebody doesn't present as funny, I try to connect with them from a humorous place, And I find that very often people who I wouldn't think are funny in any way become, are very much disarmed by a humorous interaction, especially if it's at my expense. Like if I make a joke about my haplessness or stumbling into a room or something of that nature, it helps me connect with people better. And lastly, I think I think I've developed the skills to be a good leader. And I teach. I'm a teacher as well. So but I see that as leadership, and I think that it's taken a long time for me to understand which parts of me were relevant to that. But I was able to figure out that aligning with what the other person cares about, and reflecting concern for what they're interested in, and again meeting them where they are, like where they're at, and then setting goals and objectives and all those kinds of things. That really seems to be the essence of good leadership. I don't see leadership as bossy. I see leadership as much more what somebody might call servant leadership. I think the best leader eats last. The best leader makes sure everybody's good, and then they can take care of themselves. I maybe one of my worst qualities is I overtalk, because I also want to say, like, that doesn't mean like I always see both sides of every friggin' issue, and I can imagine how somebody listening to me is like, oh, that's what you think, blah blah blah. But I don't self-sacrifice. I realize, like, I need to put on my oxygen mask before I can help the passenger next to me. So I at the same time, I know that it's important that I sleep enough, that I do the hard part first. I do my research. I do the background work that I need to do to be available to the people that I'm supposed to be helping or leading or whatever.
What's interesting that I noticed that you subtly implied there was this that you do sort of have this model of another person in your head as you are speaking. You kind of are modeling out their reactions intuitively. It's almost like
I
this.
am I'm always hopping outside myself to see myself.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to, I know I subscribe to the theory that there's no such thing as multitasking, only rapid switching.
Yeah.
And I tend to rapid switch perspective from
Mm.
through my eyes to the other's eyes, my eyes to the other's eyes, from my eyes to the view from the ceiling, the view from the observer of the interaction I'm having with somebody else. Like I have a very compound view of any given reality.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. All right. So here's a nice simple one. What is your ideal place to live in the world?
Uh, okay, I can speak micro and macro. Micro, I need my place to be quiet, like in terms of actual physical place, like construct, house, things like that. I need it to be quiet. I need it to be private. I need to be unobserved by others. Ideally, I have access to the outdoors very easily. Like I can leave my doors and windows open during the day. So I like a more temperate climate, a place where, it's in the 60s or 70s and I can leave the doors and windows open. For that reason, I like it to have some space around it where, like, my dog can walk in and out freely and I don't have to worry that he needs something. In terms of place in the world, I need access to something beautiful. I need access to nature. But I also need access to population centers. I like to go where, I like to be able to go to where things are happening without having to get on a plane. So yes, I love, if I could wave a magic wand and live anywhere I wanted right this minute, I'd probably be living on the California coast. All things being equal, economics not being part of it. I would probably live on the Southern California coast, Laguna Beach, Encinitas, someplace like that. If I needed to get more bang for my buck, I might move somewhere like in the mountains or somewhere where I can get, oh, I guess clean air is very important to me. Things that you get a lot of, that you use a lot of. I'm sorry?
I said I too enjoy breathing.
Yeah, exactly. I think those basic things that a lot of people take for granted, like air and water and climate and things of that nature. I like to fine tune those and get them tweaked and perfect. So I want the temperature to be great. I want the air to be great. I want the water to be great.
Right
I
on.
want to be able to be in my skin and physical in the place where I live.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that was incorrect. Your grade is falling. But
I'm not doing well.
what is
I
your
know.
what is your biggest pet peeve?
Bullies.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was me. So,
um, yeah, I really hate power imbalances and injustice. Um, I find that it's absolutely just intolerable to me. I lose my better angels suffer in that moment. Uh, I also don't like disorder. I like things to be in their place. I like for things to be put, or to have a place and to then to be in that place. So I also don't, and I think this is a flaw in me that I've had to work on. Like I've never been much of a consumer of like wabi sabi, or like where things get a patina, and I like things to not be broken or damaged. Like if I've been known to like buy something that I'm really happy to have, something that I value, and then I damage it and I just go buy another one. Like even though it's fine, I could use but something stupid like a thermal mug. I'll buy it. I'll love it. I'll love my thermal mug. I'll be enjoying it. I drop it. I dent it, and I'm like, now I need another one, and it works. But like, that's definitely a problem. I know that's a problem. But
mm,
so pet peeve sounds trivial. Maybe I was being too serious, but
mm. I mean, you don't have to feel so bad. I said that my pet peeve was human reproduction. I don't think that's like, so don't feel bad. It's all good. Um, what are your greatest life goals?
oh, um, well, I still to be at peace,
Hmm.
but that is a very manifold thing.
Mm,
Like, I want to be at peace with what I'm leaving for my boys. I want to
mm,
be at peace with the relationships in my life. I want to be at peace financially. I want to be at peace locationally. I want to be at peace in my body with my body. I want to be at peace with my partner. Um, and all the progress bars in my life on those fronts are in varying degrees of accomplishment. You know, some aren't where I want them at all. Some are not so bad, and some I'm doing pretty good at. But like, I think overall, the goal is ultimately like the unifying theory is peace.
mhm, mhm, mm. Sure. Gotcha. Uh, what was the most stressful time in your life and why?
Without a doubt, the end of my marriage um, was the most stressful time in my life. Why? Because I had never believed in quitting something. I was raised to feel horrible about quitting. And I, uh, I understood its potential impacts on the people around me, and it was an agonizing period, and I did my best to do my best, but there's nothing you can do to do it right. It's never, I don't, if you can really do it right, you probably shouldn't you shouldn't be divorced. Like I think it's just it's something that is rife with in which damage is inherent. And it cost me a relationship with one of my sons. It caused me untold years of tremendous emotional stress and feelings of shame, guilt, regret. And again, like in striving for peace, I've come to understand and resolve these things. By the way, peace, not via sublimation, not via suppression, but by going through something and coming out the other side, processing to peace, you know? And I hate that is a part of my history. Talk about like not wanting a broken thing, right? Like I have a life with a failure, a big glaring failure in it, and damage, lots of damage that I don't have the capacity that I do not have the capacity to undo solely on my own. And it was, I still have sensitivity to it. I've been separated for 11 years, divorced for 10 and a half years, 11 years. And yeah, 11 years. And, you know, I recently was remarried day before yesterday, but before I would even take the relationship to a more committed level, I needed to know that I had the buy-in of my sons, of my sister, the people closest to me, whose opinions and connections I valued the most. Because if I was faced with that same stress and anxiety again, I don't think I could do it. I think I would just crumple up, and I mean, it's just not something I ever want to go through again. So much more important to me to have loving relationships with the people, the tiny group of people that I value most in my life. I never, ever, ever will choose otherwise. And so for me, it was like, it's like, hey, I think this is getting to a stage where I'm going to be moving forward, where I'm going to be committing to this person. Like that means I'm bringing that person into our relationship. Like, is that something that that you can support? Is that something that feels comfortable to you? Is that something that feels like a happy addition, or does that feel diminishing? And does it feel like a drag? And does it feel like, oh, if my dad comes, it means that she's gonna come, and that's a bummer. That will impact relationships, So that period of my life I never want to go through anything like that ever again. That was worse than anything. I feel like that was like my cancer diagnosis. Like that was me. I had to go through all the various stages of illness and healing, and yeah, my priorities are clear. I have a very clear view of like how I want my life to be, and nothing is more important than that. Like I would say goodbye to the person that I married before I would impact my relationships in that way again.
Gotcha. We have one final question.
Okay.
What was the best time in your life and why?
In some ways, I feel like I'm still having the best time in my life because I think I know. I mean, I think I know the intention of the question. Like, do you look backwards or do you live in the moment or whatever? What do you see as the best time in your life? Subjectively. I could easily say like the time that I was kind of blossoming professionally, everything was going. Like I got every job I ever wanted. I looked, I landed in some great places. I had position and I was earning good money, and that was a very happy time. I think I was too stupid at the time, though. I was happy and proud, but I think I was wrapped up in ego and an external desire to kind of prove myself and to achieve a certain level of status and place. And it was great. I think I just did. I wasn't present for it. I think I took a lot of it for granted, and I kind of also thought it was just going to keep going. So there was just that's a period of time, maybe even up to 10 years, where the things I was doing were just clicking, and money was happening, and life was good, and balanced, and I had young children, and I was living where I wanted to be living, and yeah, everything was just going well. There were nothing seemed to be a struggle. It's easy for me to say that was the best time in my life, but I also feel like on the other hand, a lot of the things that I needed to learn, I hadn't yet learned. And so reflecting on the last question, like now I know how to take care of the things that could really blow a hole in my life if they were wrong. And to know that like I'm in a good spot, right? So I may not be as financially comfortable as I want to be. I may not be, I may have regrets, I may have but I feel like I'm in a better place now. And I don't want it to be over. One of my problems right now is that I have to almost hide my age, right? Like I'm 61 years old, but like I want to do stuff, and I want to continue to be a part of things. And I advise young CEOs, and I'm part of companies that are doing cool things, and I like that. But like if I went to get hired for a job doing something that I'm really good at, who's going to hire me? I'm 61 years old. I plan to live another 60 years, but that's pretty ageist. And I think that, that I'm a liability. The fact that I can't emigrate somewhere, I can't I can't move to New Zealand because I'm a liability in the eyes of the law, not in my real life, but in the eyes of their rules and regulations, I'm a liability, statistically. That sucks. That's a bummer. But I still feel more at home in my present life
Hmm.
you know, than I ever have before.
Hmm.
I think it's just because my priorities are straight.
Gotcha. Cool. Do you have any last words, any final notes?
Well, if it'll help me pass, I could buy you a present.
I want a fudgesicle.
Oh,
Can you like FedEx me one?
ate the last fudgesicle.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I
I
made
am very happy and proud that you say fudgesicle and not fudgicle.
right. Yeah, that's really important.
That really makes me proud.
Yeah.
I'm, I feel like I've done a good job as a parent for that reason alone, really.
You
I'm
could
good.
say my girlfriend studied linguistics. I think I kind of have to keep on high alert with her.
Yeah, well, there's some people who will fight the fudgicle battle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't fighting that battle. No
It's
way.
a thing. Are we still recording this?
Yeah.
Dear God.
All right. I'll stop
All right.
recording.
Um, yeah, okay, yeah, you can stop, yeah.